Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive, taking ourselves across borders, really, between Singapore and Thailand. We're going to unravel this pretty chilling series of events that landed one killer with a really quite disturbing nickname, the Garden City Butcher.
Yeah, it's quite a name.
It is. So we're going to piece together, a complex timeline. We've got police reports, forensic findings, witness accounts, quite a lot to sift through.
A real mix of sources.
Exactly. And our mission, basically, is to pull out the key facts from all this scattered information and build a coherent story. A compelling one, but frankly, a pretty unsettling one, too.
And what's often fascinating in these kinds of international cases, is seeing how incidents that seem totally separate at first.
Right, just dots on a map.
Precisely. How they eventually connect up to show this bigger, often terrifying pattern. It usually comes down to really diligent police work, persistence, and critically unmasking the false identities these guys use.
And the forensics.
Oh, absolutely. As you'll hear, the forensic details, even the tiniest speck of blood can end up speaking volumes, especially when you're dealing with crimes across borders.
And they certainly did speak volumes here. So, our story kicks off March 13th, 1995, Singapore. A place known for being super safe, right? Low crime, bustling hub.
Yeah, very orderly.
So, at the Port Authority, which is, busy, lots of ships, a dock worker spots something, a black bag, just floating in the sea.
Okay.
And it wasn't just the bag, it was the smell. Apparently just awful. He pulls it in, sees something through a tear, opens it. 2 human legs, severed above the knee, already decomposing. The smell must have been, unimaginable.
Wow.
Police called immediately, obviously. And the limbs are rushed off for forensic examination.
And this is where Professor Chow, the senior pathologist, comes in.
Yeah.
His observations were absolutely crucial here.
What did he notice?
He saw that the cuts on the bones through the joints were incredibly precise, like surgically clean. No hacking, no damage to the bone surfaces, just clean dissection.
So, not random violence.
Not at all. It strongly suggested whoever did this had serious anatomical knowledge. Maybe a surgeon, or at least someone highly skilled in, taking a body apart cleanly.
That's a very specific, sinister skill. Did they have any immediate ideas who could do that?
It definitely narrowed the field. It wasn't some amateur. It was clear. So while the pathologists are figuring this out, the police are, digging through missing persons reports, looking for a link.
And they found one.
Pretty quickly, yeah. A South African woman, Vanessa Lube, she'd reported her husband, George Lube, missing. He was 32.
Okay.
He'd flown into Singapore alone on March 8th, first time visiting, and he just stopped contacting her.
Mm-hmm.
She had his whole itinerary, knew when he was supposed to check in and when he didn't.
She raised the alarm. Smart.
Very. And this leads them to the Riverview Hotel, room 1511. That's where Gerard checked in.
Ah, okay. The hotel connection.
But here's where it gets really suspicious. The hotel records. They show he didn't check in alone. He was with another man, registered as Simon Davis.
Oh, Davis, okay.
Then the very next day, March 9th, this Simon Davis goes to reception, asks to have Gerard Lube's name taken off the room registration. Claims Gerard had left.
Wow, okay. That's bold.
Right. Then, just 2 days later, March 11th, Simon Davis checks out. Alone.
So Gerard checks in with him, then his name's removed, then Simon leaves solo. Yeah, that's more than a red flag.
Exactly. It just screams cover-up, trying to erase Gerard's presence entirely.
So the lead investigator, Sina Adon, goes to room 1511, and apparently the first thing he notes is this smell of death, even though the room looked clean.
Yeah, experienced officers often pick up on things like that, even after a cleanup attempt.
So visually clean, but something fell off.
Right. You might think you've cleaned everything, especially in a hotel room, but tiny traces, microscopic stuff. It gets into cracks, grout, fabric, and certain smells. They just linger.
So that smell plus the weird checkout stuff.
Exactly. Enough for a full forensic sweep. And sure enough, despite the apparent cleanup, they find these tiny bloodstains, corners of the bathroom floor, crevices.
And the DNA.
Matched the legs from the harbor. Perfectly.
Wow.
And they confirmed it further using DNA from Gerard's sister. It was definitely Gerard Lube.
Okay, so the victim is confirmed.
And then, as if it wasn't grim enough, another bag turns up in the water. This one had Gerard's torso and thighs.
Still no head or neck, though.
No, never found.
Okay, so victim confirmed, scene linked. But who is Simon Davis? How did they figure that out?
Well, that's where the police work. Checking records, international cooperation. It all comes together. Simon Davis, surprise, surprise, was an alias.
A stolen identity.
Yep. The real person behind it was a British guy, John Martin Scripps. And get this, a check with the UK authorities showed Scripps was actually wanted. He'd escaped from prison.
Escaped, okay.
And it turns out he'd met the real Simon Davis while they were both locked up, hence the alias.
Okay, so he's an escaped con using a stolen identity. What was his background?
Pretty troubled. Born December 1959, Letchworth, Garden City, England, which is where that Garden City butcher nickname came from later. His life seemed to go sideways pretty young. His dad, a truck driver, died by suicide when John was just 9.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Led to a difficult adolescence. Truancy, fighting, petty theft. He even did a brief stint with the French Army cadets, but, well, he deserted.
Doesn't sound like a great fit.
No. Then he meets Maria Pilar Llanos from Mexico. Marries her when she's only 15.
15. Wow.
But shortly after, he gets arrested. 10 counts of theft, assaulting an officer. Gets 3 years. Maria thought he was some kind of export trader. Finds out the truth. Divorces him.
Can't blame her.
After prison, he dives headfirst into international drug trafficking. Lots of travel to Latin America, Southeast Asia.
Right.
Gets busted again in 87.
Yeah.
Heathrow Airport. Caught with a kilo of heroin. That landed him a 7-year sentence.
Okay, so serious time.
And here's the really crucial, chilling part. During this prison sentence, he worked in the prison kitchen as a butcher.
No way.
Yes. Gained exceptional knife skills, dismembering meat. Skills eerily similar to what Professor Chow noted about those precise cuts on Gerard Loub's remains.
Wow. That's horrifying, taking a mundane skill and twisting it like that.
It really is. Shows a dark kind of adaptability, doesn't it? So in 1994, he's out on temporary release. And he just bolts, sells his stuff, vanishes, travels through Mexico apparently looking for his ex-wife Maria, then eventually makes his way to Singapore, and after that, Thailand.
What a path. So now they know who he is, know he's escaped. The hunt must have really kicked into high gear.
Absolutely. Singaporean police, British police, they're coordinating now. They track his movements. Found out he bought a plane ticket Singapore to Bangkok through Thomas Cook, the travel agency.
Okay.
And weirder still, he'd actually left a bag at the Thomas Cook office in Singapore. Staff remembered it. Said it smelled faintly of perfume, but underneath that, something foul.
Like he was trying to mask it.
Seems like it. And then ATM footage. Clear as day.
Yeah.
Scripps using Gerard Loub's credit card, withdrawing cash.
Got him. So they knew he was spending the victim's money.
Yep. And the police suspected he'd had to come back to Singapore. He'd started some kind of money transfer, apparently, and needed to complete it, so they figured they could intercept him on his return.
A waiting game.
While they were waiting, though, more awful news came in. This time from Thailand. Phuket.
What happened there?
Scripps had traveled there, and he'd encountered more tourists, Canadians this time. Sheila Demoody and her son, Darren.
Oh, no.
And the pattern. It's chillingly consistent. He checked into the same hotel as them, Patong Beach. Got an adjacent room. This was March 15th of 1995.
Right next door.
Exactly. And after he checked in next to them, Sheila and Darren were never seen again.
It's the same method. Befriend, get close then.
Exactly. That modus operandi was becoming terrifyingly clear. Preying on tourists, gaining trust.
It really highlights how vulnerable travelers can be, doesn't it? That openness can be exploited.
Tragically, yes.
Yeah.
So Singapore police immediately tell the Thai authorities about Scripps, about the Demoods likely being victims.
So the Thai police start looking.
Right away, they investigate the Demoods' hotel room. And again, bloodstains. Hidden under carpets, curtains, behind a sliding door. Another cleanup attempt, clearly.
He was trying to cover his tracks again.
Hotel staff remembered seeing him too, leaving the hotel carrying several black trash bags right after the Demoods disappeared.
Okay, so they had leads.
They followed them, searched old tin mines nearby, roadsides. It led to, well, another horrific discovery. 2 human skulls, found about 50 meters apart in a disused mine.
Skulls.
Then, maybe 900 meters from the hotel, they found torsos, arms, legs, belonging to 2 people, a white male, a white female.
Sheila and Darren.
Confirmed. Remains were decomposed, but it was them.
God, it's just relentless. The trail of bodies.
The evidence was just piling up,
Yeah.
stretching across 2 countries now, all pointing directly at John Martin Scripps.
So the trap was set in Singapore. Did he walk into it?
He did, March 19th, 1995. Just as police suspected, Scripps flew back into Singapore. He had no idea they were waiting.
And they got him.
Apprehended him right there at the airport. Apparently he resisted violently at first, struggling, yelling he was innocent. But they subdued him.
And his luggage. I dread to think.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was basically a killer's toolkit. A stun gun, a baton, a full set of knives, including a serrated one, handcuffs, and a heavy hammer, like 1.3 kilos.
Jesus.
And the absolute clincher. Multiple fake passports, Gerard Loub's passport, and the passports of Sheila and Darren DeMuth.
He had all 3 victims' passports on him. That's undeniable.
Pretty much seals it, right? Now, Singaporean law is strict. You can only hold someone for 48 hours without charge.
Right.
So to keep him detained while they formally built the murder case, they initially charged him with theft, just a holding tactic.
Smart move.
Because the evidence for murder was overwhelming, especially with those passports. During the trial for Gerard Loub's murder, Scripps was, well, apparently quite erratic.
How so?
He started claiming he didn't act alone, said there were co-conspirators, his story kept changing, inconsistent testimony. He'd cry in court, ask for his mother.
Genuine remorse or an act?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Was he trying to manipulate the court? So doubt. Play for sympathy. Who knows?
But the evidence was too strong.
Way too strong. November 10th, 1995. After a 16-day trial, the Singapore High Court found him guilty. Murder of Gerard Loub.
And the sentence in Singapore.
Mandatory death penalty for murder. By hanging.
Wow. And what about the Thai murders? Sheila and Darren.
Interestingly, despite all the evidence linking him, he was never actually charged in Thailand for those killings.
Really? Why not?
The exact reasons aren't totally clear. It might have been jurisdictional complexities, or maybe because the outcome in Singapore, the death sentence, was already certain. It does leave a bit of a question mark, though, about prosecuting crimes across borders.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of lingering questions, wasn't there potentially another victim before Singapore and Thailand?
Ah, yes. Timothy McDowell, a young British guy.
What was the connection there?
McDowell was last seen with Scripps back in Mexico. Before all this. And again, the pattern. Scripps used McDowell's credit cards. Racked up about 20,000 pounds in spending.
And McDowell.
Vanished. His body's never been found.
Did Scripps ever say anything about him?
Apparently, when he was questioned about Timothy McDowell later, while on death row in Singapore, he just flew into a rage, completely shut down, refused to talk about it.
That reaction kind of speaks volumes, too.
It fits the pattern, doesn't it? Befriend, rob, kill, dispose of the body. Across continents, it seems like a consistent, terrifying method.
It's just chilling. This guy, capable of such brutality, but then reports say he spent his last months writing poetry.
Yeah, apparently so. Writing about being lonely, saying only his family and his ex-wife Maria ever really loved him. She never visited him in prison, though.
A strange, dark end.
A very dark end. John Martin Scripps, the Garden City butcher, was executed by hanging. Singapore. April 19, 1996. Just over a year after his arrest.
First foreign national executed in Singapore, right?
That's right. The case sent absolute shockwaves through Singapore and way beyond. A grim reminder of, well, the darkness that can hide in plain sight, even targeting unsuspecting travelers.
So this deep dive into the Garden City butcher case, it really shows how one person, driven by whatever dark impulses, could leave such a trail of terror across countries, just preying on the trust of innocent people.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What goes on inside someone's mind to lead to such calculated, cold-blooded acts? And also, how do our legal systems internationally actually cope with these complex cross-border crimes?
Yeah.
Getting justice when the victims and evidence are scattered across the globe. It's a huge challenge.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Well, hopefully you're now informed, you got the details, the connections in this really unsettling case. We hope you gain some valuable insight into how these complex investigations unfold piece by piece. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.